You're listening to Band Practice with Matthew and Krebs. Rock out with your cock out.
It's time for a quickie.
So, newsflash, update. James Gunn is taking over, at least initially writing for the Suicide Squad sequel, which I kind of read somewhere that it's going to be a soft reboot because the first one sucks so bad.
A soft reboot, really?
Yeah, soft reboot is like you kind of bring in the same characters, but you take out others, but you put them... I can't even give you like a good example of a soft reboot because the only one I can think of is Ghost Rider 2, and both those suck, so who cares?
Yeah, God, they sucked.
By the way...
Dave Bautista immediately volunteered and asked, hey, so who am I playing?
Not only that, but like the fucking Twitter sphere and all the internet just like started got it buzzing as if he's actually directing, which is not confirmed. He's directing, but we all want it.
I absolutely do.
This is the most I've been excited about a DC movie since Batman vs. Superman was announced, and then my hopes were dashed. But I'm excited.
Well, you know what's funny about the whole thing is I specifically remember when they announced Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, who the fuck is that? And then we talked, and you're like, it's great, and you went on this whole diatribe, and I was like, okay. And then,
but to be fair,
but then they announced DC announced Suicide Squad, and you were like, and I was like, and you're like, no, this is their Guardians of the Galaxy. And it's just fucking what do you call it? Like coincidence, I guess, that now he's moving to the DC side.
If it goes well, I think it's Providence. I think this is. The God that I don't believe in may have ordained this because it's exactly who I would want to do it because all right, so there's a lot of there's a lot of correlations and connections between Guardians of the Galaxy and Suicide Squad, in that they're sort of nebulous, in that they're ill-defined. They have a lot of characters come in and out. Even when Guardians of the Galaxy was like announced, I went, "Oh, that's cool." I had to look up who's on that roster because I don't even fucking remember. like it's changed out. It hasn't been really all that relevant, but it was a perfect choice because, like, I'm a nerd. I'm a comic nerd. I've been collecting since like the '80s, late '80s, obviously. But like I wasn't even sure about them that much, which at the time I was like, oh, this could be really good because because they're opening up an entire universe, which is space itself. So it was it's not on Earth. It opens things up. I saw nothing but possibility, but I was also like, I don't really know these characters, so it's actually the first Marvel movie I walked into, and I had just nothing but fun. It was just fun. It was like
it was great.
First time you see Star Wars, it's just fun.
Well, Jason Brown, he hates the MCU, and he loves Guardians of the Galaxy. His dad too.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I think he really liked it too because of the soundtrack.
Well, obviously,
so, yeah.
And they gave Gunn so much like just leeway. Just do what you want. We trust you. It's also, by the way, the only movie that and the second one where I go, is Kevin Feige even here? Like,
yeah.
and not like in a bad way, just in that I don't feel like he's saying, well, that guy needs to be here. This needs to happen. You need this. I feel like he was like, put an Infinity Stone somewhere in there, and we're good. Like Gunn, we got you. Like, we trust you. Like it was very open and nebulous and ill-defined. It was a great way to go. And I'm saying this after the fact. Had it bombed, we would probably not be talking about it. But it came out and it was great.
This is what I was thinking. I fucking hate the DC movies as a general rule of thumb. But Wonder Woman was amazing, and Man of Steel was out fucking standing. I think both of them were great. And I think that James Gunn can come in, and I think that after he does Suicide Squad, I hope it goes over amazing. And if it does, I really think Warner Brothers needs to hire him to oversee all of the DC projects. Just halt whatever the fuck they're doing, because from what I understand, they're going off and they're making this movie and that movie, and like there's something about a Joker flick. Like
there's a couple different Jokers.
And it's like, I don't like that's. I feel like at this point it's a money grab, and it's not giving the fans what they want, which is like what Marvel has done at a.
It's not well planned at all.
No, not at all. They need someone with oversight that is overseeing the whole thing that isn't about a money grab, which I feel like is what is happening. Like, I feel like a lot of the DC movies are just money grabs because, we have this name, let's make this movie, let's get fucking Will Smith in there. Yeah, that's a great idea. No, the fuck it's not. God damn it.
Especially not in Suicide Squad, but I don't know if I'd be on board with him being, like, overseeing everything. I'm not saying no, but Gunn also doesn't really respect the source material, which is why they hired him for Guardians of the Galaxy, because it didn't matter. Like, he could do what he wanted.
Maybe DC doesn't need one oversight person. Maybe they need a panel. And they get Kevin Smith in there, too.
Ooh, DC by committee. I like
yeah,
this.
DC by committee.
Hashtag DC by committee. Committee that a thing?
Yeah, right.
They
they could have like an overall panel that goes, okay, we need to plan this out, and then come up with a plan and then execute with source material and subject matter experts. Like,
well,
because I want the DC movies to be good. I want them to be good so bad.
I do too, and like even the ones that are bad, I'm still like hopeful every movie that comes out. Like when Suicide Squad was announced, I'm like, this is awesome. I called you about it.
Yeah.
It's awesome because it's what DC does well, and it can expand their universe. In that, what DC does really well is they're able to go dark, and their villains, they have the best and deepest villains anywhere. Like nobody can even touch them. The average person can probably, if you push them enough, can name 20, maybe even more, just any Marvel characters. Ask them to name 20 DC characters. They're not going to be able to give you that. Ask them to name 6 villains in the DC universe, and they're going to give you Two-Face. They're going to give you Joker. They're going to give you Killer Croc. They're going to give you Penguin, and these are all just Batman's villains. I'm not even done yet, but give me 6 good Marvel villains, and they're gonna. It's gonna take them a minute, But so what DC does well is the depth of their villains. So Suicide Squad is nothing but villains. They're generally B villains. Deadshot,
because they're expendable,
and that's what makes them great. Because I've got a couple, only a couple, because I wasn't that big in Suicide Squad, because it kind of wasn't played up, at least when I was collecting it in the '90s, because it was just B villains, and it's hard to get excited about Killer Croc and Knockout and Sidearm. Matt, do you know those 3 that I just mentioned?
What?
Yeah. I didn't think so, but it's hard.
I'm sitting over here in my head naming Marvel villains. I'm trying to get to 20.
Yeah. But so what made Suicide Squad great was that half these villains or half the characters in the squad are not going to be alive by the end of this. They're disposable. They're supposed to be. They have great, awesome deaths. They tend to bring them back because in comics, everybody comes back eventually.
Even Superman comes back.
Yeah. And again, DC willing to go that route. Brutally kill a character right in front of you, draw the blood. He's dead for a while. I don't know exactly how long he was dead, but I think he was good. At least as me as a collector, he was dead for at least a year. We all knew he was coming back, but we didn't know when.
Yeah.
And DC can go so dark, and Suicide Squad is supposed to be dark. They're supposed to be dead, and they're supposed to have at least one hero. That's when Suicide Squad got really good, was when they had one hero who stumbled into the mission, and they're not going to die, but their name is attached to it, so it's going to be pretty good. But I remember the exact moment where I thought maybe DC has it. I was watching Suicide Squad, and when Deadshot shoots Harley Quinn and she falls flat while she's hanging from the helicopter when the Joker's captured, I went, I think they get it. You just fucking killed Harley Quinn. That's awesome. And then she's like, and she pops up and laughs away. I'm like, oh, you guys don't get it at all.
Yeah.
It was just disappointing.
I read this. Speaking of Superman's death, I read this. I was reading this article about how it all came about when they decided to do it. And
I love the story. Go on.
Yeah, and they were sitting there and they're like,
I will blow your mind with all the info that he doesn't know, but I'm about to. Sorry.
Yeah. So they're like, they sit down in the meeting and they're like, okay, so what do we want? What are we going to do with Superman? What's going to be the next big thing?
I'm going to stop you first.
And they told me, they're like,
hold on. They didn't just get everyone together. They took everyone and sequestered them in a hotel, away from everything, to have this conversation. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. But they're like, I guess they were talking about the initial, when they decided to run with the idea.
Yeah.
They sit down and the writers are like, okay, well, Let's kill Superman. Ha 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 ha. And then apparently that was a joke that happened at every meeting when they were deciding the next big storyline. And then someone went, Why not?
Damn.
And then that was how it all started.
That's how really good terrible dark ideas happen.
Yeah.
Well, what else do you know about that?
That was all I remember from it.
Because
I just remember thinking that they would joke about killing Superman all the time, and then someone finally went, "Yeah, fuck it, let's do that. That's a good idea."
And then they apparently took it serious, and then they sequestered everyone. Took him. I actually used to remember the hotel because that's how fucking nerdy I used to be. I'm getting older, but they took him to this one hotel. They took all their cell phones. You could not call out. It was almost like an assassination of a president. All right, we're gonna kill him, right? All right, how do we do this? We have to be able to get away with it. It's gotta be the right person. And then it was well we can't give it to Lex Luthor because he's always been trying to kill him.
Yeah, and that wouldn't feel believable.
And actually, we can't none of it felt like anybody deserved that honor of killing him. So because on some level they all want to, and you don't want to reward a villain. So who do you have kill Superman? You have someone kill Superman who doesn't care that they're doing it. They're just doing it because it just happens to be in their way. And then that spawned Doomsday, and Doomsday is I don't want to say favorite villain because he's not a person. He's just a thing that just goes this direction, and you happen to be in his way. But his origin story is fucking great because it's he was actually born on Krypton. Kind of. There was this alien species on Krypton before the actual Kryptonians that we know now were on there. It's prehistoric Krypton. I don't know.
Okay.
And there was an alien there who, he wanted to create the most perfect living weapon. So he got some DNA and made a baby out of it. And then he put the baby in a cannon and shot that baby out into the wilderness. The first few babies that shot out just died. They would collect the DNA, bring it back, and then allow the DNA to mutate and evolve. Within I think a few weeks, the baby shot out of the cannon and was able to survive just getting shot out of a cannon. And then I think it could survive on its own for a couple weeks before the indigenous population,
wildlife.
Yeah, thank you. Would eat it. And then I think, then they would go out, get the cadaver, DNA, rinse and repeat. Then it could survive for a couple months, a year or so. I think within I think it was about a decade though. This thing. Again, rinse and repeat. This thing went out and killed every living thing not in that compound. And the problem is, what they didn't take into account was this thing remembered every single death for some reason.
Oh, shit.
And so in its DNA, it hates life itself. So once it killed all the life on that planet, it looked at the one place it hadn't been yet, this compound. So then it fucking breaks into this compound. And the guy who had been recloning this thing over and over again is so excited to meet his creature. He names it the Ultimate, and he's looking at it. But again, this thing hates life on a genetic level and just looks at him and he goes, "You're not gonna kill your father, are you?" Head smash. Just fucking caves his head in. I think the last few survivors get on this shuttle. That's just basically leaving anywhere. He's this thing that we know to be Doomsday. He's clinging to it. He gets inside, kills everyone else. He's got a full story where he goes planet to planet, killing a lot of people and killing a lot of civilizations. But the problem is he is so evolved that he can evolve within his own lifespan. So he might have a mortal wound, but then he'll heal and he can never be hurt that way again. He's died before and he can never die again. And the only thing that people could think to do was put it in stasis and put it on Earth because Earth wasn't a thing. It was just this, molten core thing. So they stuck it in Earth, and it took hundreds of thousands of years for I think someone discovered it actually. This pod that Doomsday was in, and it gets out, attacks everything, takes out the entire Justice League easily, and eventually sees Superman and actually hates Superman because because Doomsday has a genetic attachment to the planet that he was created on, which is Krypton, but hates all living stuff, especially if it's from Krypton. So looks at Superman and
goes nuts.
And goes nuts. Like you can't create a better villain because he's got no agenda. He's got no goal. He doesn't care. They even played with the story where they gave him sentience for a little while where he could actually think. And that was really cool because I think he lands in Metropolis because Metropolis and Gotham are the only cities that actually exist on that Earth. And he has sentience, he can understand, he can think. And he's looking at this little girl and he's like, you're a thing. You move, you live. Squishes the little girl into the ground and goes, it stopped living. I should note that. But that was the only interesting part about him. After that, he wasn't interesting. It was he has sentience. That's cool. But now he's doesn't anymore. He's better when he doesn't have sentience. He's better when he's just this mindless brute. It's perfect creature to kill Superman.